Welcome to The Explainer. Look, if you've been tracking global mobility, you already know that spring 2026 has been an absolute roller coaster. We're seeing some of the most rapid-fire, dramatic shifts to European immigration in recent memory. Across the continent, rules are being rewritten, timelines are stretching, and the pathways to securing a European passport are undergoing what we can really only call the Great European Squeeze. Whether you're an expat, a digital nomad, or a golden visa investor, the landscape has fundamentally changed over just the last few months.
10. I want you to keep this number in the back of your mind today because it's the ultimate symbol of this whole new European reality. Specifically, this represents Portugal's sudden jump to a 10-year citizenship residency requirement. That is up from what used to be a super attractive 5-year wait. When the president signed the new nationality law this spring, officially setting this 10-year clock, it sent absolute shockwaves through the global investor community. It's a glaring indicator that the rules of the game have changed almost overnight.
And that forces us to ask the big, critical question for today. Is the European passport slipping further out of reach? Because as we look across the data from the Prep2Go News Digest spanning February to June 2026, we see a clear, undeniable trend. The finish line is being actively pushed away from applicants across the entire continent. From Scandinavia all the way down to the Iberian Peninsula, governments are essentially raising the drawbridges. Okay, let's dive into this and make sense of this chaotic legislative season. Here's our agenda. 1. The spring 2026 citizenship timeline. 2. The Nordic tightening. 3. Southern Europe's mixed approach. And 4. Golden visa exit strategies. Starting with Section 1, the spring 2026 citizenship timeline. To truly grasp the investor impact here and how expat strategies need to pivot, we first have to map out exactly how quickly these macro-level changes hit. It wasn't a slow drift at all. It was a cascade. Just look at how major European players sequentially extended their naturalization requirements like falling dominoes. In February 2026, Finland officially extended its permanent residency requirement to 6 years, adding incredibly strict language and employment conditions. By April, Portugal's parliament passed, and the president signed, the new nationality law, doubling the citizenship timeline to 10 years for a lot of applicants. And if that wasn't enough, just weeks later in May, Sweden officially passed a law extending their citizenship wait time to 8 years. They basically moved the goalposts while the game was being played. In just a few short months, the timeline to secure a European passport fundamentally doubled for hundreds of thousands of people. Let's move on to Section 2, the Nordic tightening. Up in Scandinavia, we're seeing a highly unified move towards strict compliance. Sweden isn't just extending that citizenship wait to 8 years, they're actually moving to abolish permanent residency for refugees and enforcing what they call honest lifestyle requirements. That means they can revoke your residence permit for tax or conduct violations. Over in Finland, alongside a brand new mandatory citizenship test, they're raising income thresholds for family reunification and restricting social benefits for expired residence permits. And Denmark? Well, they've introduced strict mandatory deportation rules for serious offenses that are honestly becoming a model for broader Europe. So we're looking at a very clear regional shift here demanding higher financial contribution and rigorous integration. Now, what's really interesting about this next slide is the stark contrast it provides to the north. Section 3, Southern Europe's mixed approach. Because while the North focuses heavily on structured, strict compliance, Southern Europe is grappling with a totally different reality: absolute bureaucratic bottlenecks. Looking at the data here, it shows that while countries like Spain and Portugal aren't necessarily raising the ideological drawbridges in the exact same way as the Nordics, they are buckling under the administrative weight of mass regularizations. It's two vastly different administrative realities, but they're driving the exact same result: much longer waits for applicants. To put the scale of Southern Europe's administrative gridlock into perspective, just look at this staggering number: 500,000. In April 2026, Spain launched a historic decree to regularize or legalize 500,000 undocumented migrants. It's a massive undertaking, and it essentially overwhelmed the system completely. This triggered indefinite strikes by immigration officials and led to IT glitches so severe they practically sent the processing system back to the Stone Age. If you're an investor or expat applying for any visa in Spain right now, you're squarely caught in the wake of this massive administrative gridlock. And this brilliantly illustrates the landscape for high net worth individuals. Let's break down the big 3 destinations on this table. Spain is officially phasing out its real estate golden visa, forcing investors to pivot toward nomad or startup visas. In Portugal, the golden visa investment funds are actually thriving. Conservative bond funds are a huge top choice right now, but applicants are stuck facing IMA processing delays that now exceed 40 months. Combine that with the new 10-year citizenship wait, and it's a long road. But then there's Italy. While its neighbors close doors or face massive delays, Italy's golden visa remains stable and open. Their 250,000 to €2 million residency investment pathways are highly competitive, their timeline hasn't changed at all, and they are even centralizing and fast-tracking applications. Italy has essentially become an open haven in a tightening market. Which brings us to the climax of this explainer. Section 4, Golden Visa Exit Strategies.
So what does this all mean for financial planning and high net worth investors trying to navigate 2026? This headline from mid-June captures the friction perfectly. Portugal's 10-year citizenship law triggers golden visa fund redemptions. Look, investors made financial plans based on a 5-year timeline. With that timeline suddenly doubled, we're seeing very real frustration. Lawsuits are being planned against the government, complaints to EMA have surged by 37%, and investors are actively pulling their capital from funds. Why? Because their exit strategy, that moment they get the passport and can liquidate their investment, has been fundamentally disrupted.
Because of all this friction, prospective expats are being forced to pivot to secure their European mobility. Here is exactly how they're doing it. Strategy 1, enduring the pain. Many are choosing to stay the course in Portugal, accepting longer holding periods in conservative investment funds, and proactively fighting for EMA renewal slots. Strategy 2, capital flight to stability. We're seeing a massive pivot to Italy's stable €250,000 residency and golden visa routes, simply because they are processing on time without timeline changes. And strategy 3, shifting to alternative visas. With Spain closing its real estate route, applicants are shifting to the digital nomad visa. But as the 2026 guidance shows, they now have to navigate higher income thresholds and a very strict 20% cap on local earnings.
So the crucial takeaway here is that the landscape has shifted from a sprint to a marathon, which leaves us with this final provocative thought. As citizenship timelines double across the continent and bureaucratic walls grow taller, is flexible residency the new endgame? Are we moving away from the era of the quick European passport and into an era where simply holding a long-term, stable residence permit in a country like Italy or Spain is the ultimate goal itself? It is a fascinating shift in the real value of global mobility. Thank you so much for joining me to unpack this complex topic. Keep learning, keep adapting, and I will catch you next time.